there was a lot of stuff that happened in 2016. There were films, there was music, there was celebrity deaths, and there was a presidential election. Many of these ruined the year for some people. But I didn't let it ruin the year for me. I still had great films that I saw. I saw Arrival, I saw Moana. I had an amazing surprise in the actual greatness of Star Trek Beyond. I had the Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition that salvaged a below average film to be a great one. I had a lot of things this year that made it good. But we had disappointments. Things that weren't necessarily good or bad, but just disappointing. What were these things? I was thinking, and there were two things that disappointed me the most. I just have to give an honorable mention to Modern Baseball's Holy Ghost, Modern Baseball. When I first listened to it, I was very disappointed. It was not what I wanted out of a new album from them at all. But now it's my album of the year 2016. So, yes. I've let these stick with me. And I have experienced these two films multiple times. And they don't click. At all. For any reason. I'll start with the worst of the two. Suicide Squad. I was very much looking forward to Suicide Squad as someone where Requiem for a Dream is one of their favorite films. And Jared Leto is an amazing actor. I believe that with all of my heart. I thought that Jared Leto had a great chance to be part of a great ensemble film. I thought Jared Leto was great. It's just the fact that nothing else in the movie was. Suicide Squad was an absolute mess. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. And the thing is, it's like shooting a cannonball at a target, but instead of going on target or just a bit off target, about a 1 out of 32 of that cannonball made it so dead on that it was impeccable. 10 out of 10. But then the other 31 pieces of the cannonball flew off to another country. The things that were right in Suicide Squad were very right. And those things are the atmosphere of some of the flashbacks, particularly the one with Batman and the Joker driving around Gotham. That felt so distinctly them that it was uncanny. I loved that part. I loved some of Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. I loved the banter between the team. But it was the editing, the action, the unsatisfying in any form action. It was the characters being introduced to us 3 times and still feeling like we needed more time with the characters. It was the ending basically putting our heroes back where they were instead of having them grow as people. See, that's the problem with having villains as the main people in your movie. They're still going to be villains at the end of the day. These are not reformable people. They basically made these people anti-heroes in the vein of Deadpool, or say a Moon Knight, than an actual supervillain team. And I know this isn't the Legion of Supervillains, this isn't the Sinister Six movie, but you need to say these are villains. When I faced Deadshot in Batman Arkham City, I felt that Deadshot was a villain. And in this, I did not feel that at all. When I faced Harley Quinn in Batman Arkham... Well, she wasn't really in Batman Arkham, was she was not. In Arkham City or Arkham Asylum, you could feel that she just didn't care. The only character that felt like a villain in this movie was the Joker. And people hated that because apparently the Joker, one of the most iconic villains in Western culture, with multiple incarnations across multiple generations, using some of those generations' best actors like Jack Nicholson or Heath Ledger, or how I believe we will look back on Jared Leto, maybe not this version of the Joker, but definitely how we will look back upon him as one of the greatest actors of his generation, it's bad for him to be bad. It's like making Darth Vader a hero, not counting the prequels. Prequels, that's a weird thing to do. But it is exactly like saying, "Hey, Darth Vader, we know you're on a castle in Mustafar, surrounded by lava, but come on, guys, let's help out the good guys for once." Well, no, Vader was an insane person. Vader was not the person to be a hero, and that's not how Vader should be portrayed. The Joker is not a hero. I don't know why people got mad about him being, excuse my language, about him being a dick. I don't get it. I really don't get it. The editing, the lighting. I couldn't see half of the movie. They're out in broad daylight in this movie, and I couldn't. The only line I can remember is that's not a meme. Like the one about like Harley Quinn being Joker. That's a meme. What are we, some kind of Suicide Squad? Ha ha ha. I don't get it. I really don't get this movie. I don't get the popularity behind it. I do not get anything behind this film. David Ayer is a talented director. If you've seen Fury, you'd know that. David Ayer wrote Training Day. You would know David Ayer is a talented person. It really makes me mad. And I wanted to love this movie, but I didn't. And 10 minutes of additional footage could not salvage that. A half hour of a movie is a substantial part of that movie. 3 hours. Imagine having a 3-hour film like Silence or a Martin Scorsese movie and taking a half hour out of it. Take a half hour out of The Wolf of Wall Street. See if it flows anything like it did. Same thing with Watchmen. Take tons of stuff out of that movie. It's going to be like this. You're not going to get any space. I believe the Watchmen director's / Ultimate Cut is fantastic. I think it's a fantastic movie. And with that and Batman v Superman, it does have its flaws. Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition has its flaws. That film has intrinsic flaws that cannot be fixed with just more footage. But it's still kind of salvageable. What is the second film? I said Suicide Squad was the worst of the two. This movie got a lot of buzz at Sundance. It was being called a new masterpiece. And I went in wanting, more than Suicide Squad, I wanted to go in having the cinematic experience of a lifetime. I wanted this because this person directed it, wrote it, I'm pretty sure, acted as the lead role. I wanted this to be like a new Citizen Kane almost. Not introducing new, but just how great it is. Birth of a Nation, directed by Nate Parker, I'm pretty sure. Nate Parker, I want to say. I can't even say I liked the movie as a whole. There are very few things I liked. I liked Nate's acting as Nat Turner. I liked the cinematography. The first 2/3 of it, I liked. I thought it was a good thing, but also the camera work that in stuff that wasn't just showing plantations or showing montages or showing dream sequences was boring sometimes. It looked like an HBO show. Like the HBO shows that actually look like TV shows. And there's nothing wrong with that. We know that this was his first feature. But you also have to look at the fact of what he was doing and how much praise it was getting out of Sundance. You can't expect someone to just go into a movie like that with no expectations. The last third of the movie ruined any kind of believability about this story. It actually happened. I learned about this. I lived in Mississippi as a kid. I knew this happened. And I was never mad that it happened. I totally understood. But also, it has also been well documented that Nat Turner did this as a reason of faith. And spoiler alert for Birth of a Nation, Nat Turner, when he kills his slave master, played by Armie Hammer, actually a good performance from Armie Hammer for once. There is a cross in the background. There is a stained glass window, and Armie Hammer is crawling towards Nat Turner. Nat May Parker, whatever. And that is a great shot. Shows in one shot why Nat Turner was doing this. And it shows in the movie that it was a faith thing, but you can't go from a conflict. And after that, he throws up because it shows that this is not who he is. He is not a killer. And then it turns into Braveheart. You can't go from a conflicted drama about slaves and the uprising of them and the moral ambiguity of it. You can't go from that to Braveheart. You can't. Some of these fight scenes with Jackie Earle Harley, also a good performance. I was surprised. They were shot like 300. You the tonal shift there. It set up. This is also a thing with Suicide Squad. It set up a lot of stuff, and I was like, if they do this, I'll clap in the movie theater. I don't clap in the movie theater a lot. I really don't. I would have stood up and clapped. That movie would have been amazing. They didn't pay off any of it. And what felt like it was going to be kind of a slasher movie for a second, like a weird kind of slasher movie, I was totally on board for that. I thought that's what it was going to be. It wasn't. It turned into an action movie, and that's not what that movie was. There's not as much behind the scenes out there for Birth of a Nation as there was for Suicide Squad, so I can't really blame it on anything. But that movie had a lot of potential, tons of potential, and the fact that I feel like it was wasted. And let me address something. I am white. That is very true. Before anyone points this out in the comments, I am white, and I am talking about a movie about slaves. I feel like this is a film that I paid money to see. I went out of my way. This was not on my list to go see, but I saw how much good press this movie was getting, and I said, I need to go see this. I need to. And a lot of people are acting like there was something amazing about this movie. Maybe I just need to watch it a few more times. Really, I am willing to give this movie more chances. But I don't get it. This is not going to be a 12 Years a Slave situation. 12 Years a Slave had a different message. It had a different feel to it. It had no tonal shifts. And if it did, they did it so smoothly. And it didn't feel like only one character wasn't an archetype. Only one character wasn't a stereotype. The cinematography in that film was beautiful, though. It was absolutely beautiful, and some of the scenes really showed the horrors of slavery. In some ways, more than 12 Years a Slave did. The scene where they knocked out their teeth, it made me so uncomfortable, and I liked that. I like feeling uncomfortable at the movies. I like having I like not feeling comfortable at the film. It means that they're doing their job right. My senses are being attacked. The scene with the whipping of Nat Turner and his face just making those slight movements, it did so much for me. Not in that way, but it communicated these horrors in a modern way. And I just don't feel like it did it. I didn't portray the story well, I feel like. And I feel like I should have been a bit worried when 2 Chainz was on the soundtrack and they actually put out a soundtrack with rappers on it. I feel like I should have been worried then. Yeah. That slot felt like the film that I wanted to come and just take up my senses, though. That was taken by Arrival. That was my favorite film of last year. I still need to see La La Land and Manchester by the Sea and Fences. And Moonlight. Moonlight looks amazing. It looks absolutely stunning. Um, yeah, that's all I gotta say. This isn't scripted. I just wanted to talk about this. Yeah, not a lot of people saw Birth of a Nation, so I just not a lot of people to talk about it with. I know two other people that saw this movie, and one of them saw it with me. Uh, yes, I liked the movie. I liked some parts of it. I guess it wasn't special at all. It felt very generic in a lot of parts. Yeah, Suicide Squad, Birth of a Nation. Most disappointing things of 2016 for me. Yeah. Tell me your most disappointing things in the comments, I guess. Like or dislike. Dislike, probably. I think that's what YouTubers say. I don't know. I'll see you. Peace.